was another expert today. So thank you for coming.
Thank you, Radha. Can you hear me? Can you guys hear me?
I can hear you. Can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you. Shoot.
Just Yash, give a quick cue. Really quick. Welcome to the Outside View Live. I want to just hear your first thoughts on that Pakistani innings. I think it was a refreshed innings that had new energy within it. What did you make of it?
First of all, thank you, Radha, for welcoming me here. And I believe we are just 5 runs short. I was thinking for a 130 because looking at this wicket, 130 would have been enough for Pakistan's bowling to defend it. But 5 runs short, and I think our bowlers can work with it, and they can work around with this target. But looking at, honestly, Aisha Naseem, I was not expecting Aisha to perform so well in outside conditions, because Aisha is known as the small mini dynamite in our circuit. But the way she played and the way it was a very good partnership with Nida and Aisha, because there was a youngster and there was an experienced player playing around. And the best part that I loved about the body language today, the team today, that we got to see good running between the wickets that we usually lack on. So I think they've played positive cricket, and we'd see some positive things during their bowling.
Yeah, that's great. I mean, good run well in the ODIs, but they're really taking from that. Claire, we discussed in the pre-match, we're not sure how the pitch is going to play out. What's your quick assessment on the pitch so far?
It's been much better on second ODI. I think we saw exactly the same thing happen here. Third ODI, but slow. Totally agree. I think probably 5, maybe even 10 runs short of a target. But yeah, I thought the pitch was a lot better than the third ODI.
So, I mean, we always talk about this, that 5 or 10 run shot, and it seemed like a no-brainer to get Alia Riaz up the order, especially when she's known to hit so well. She's in really good form coming off the ODIs. To be fair, Aisha did play well, but do you see that as a possibility where she comes up the order and then has that freedom? Because from over here, from ball 1, she had to kind of go for it, and she did get out. Ananya, what are your thoughts on that?
Yeah, I think I was really frustrated that Alia Riaz and both Nidadar and Alia Riaz batted as low as 7 and 8. I mean, if you look at the way they batted through the ODIs, they were Pakistan's best batters, and they have a reputation in T20 cricket to be able to find the boundary, and we saw that with Nidadar. As soon as she came in, she found the boundary at the get-go. So I was really disappointed, but again, credit to Aisha Naseem. I thought she played fantastically well. She showed great intent. She hits the ball really hard, and there's a lot for Pakistan to work with. I think she's going to be a star for the future. I saw a bit of her in 2019 during that T20 tournament, and she can really hit the ball. She reminded me a lot of Shafali Verma, and I think she's going to be exactly like that. So, I think, it's really hard, but I think Pakistan need to find a way to push Nidadar and Alia Riaz maybe to 4 and 5, possibly drop Nahida Khan down the order, because they're really not getting much out of her. And if they want to play her, then maybe she and Kanat Imtiaz come down lower and just give your best batters more of an opportunity to play, I suppose, a longer innings, because that's what, T20 is 120 balls. And if you're going to give someone like Alia Riaz just 6 balls or 7 balls to face, like Claire said, they've fallen short 5 to 10 runs because of that mistake.
Yeah, and we talk about the partnership between Aisha and Nida. Sawera, I wanted to ask you, can you tell us a little more about the partnership up top between Muniba and Kainat Imtiaz? Because they were sort of shaky at the beginning, but they kind of stabilized everything and set up a good platform for the batters coming next.
When I talk about the domestic team, Muniba and Kainat were playing together in that team, and they have that understanding. But obviously, when I've always spoken about alien conditions, because honestly speaking, if I talk about Pakistan cricket, our girls don't get much matches to just go outside and play, to go outside from their home conditions and play. So the way they took their time to settle, I know they took their time to settle, but the time when they got settled, they had a really good partnership, and that was the middle overs the middle time frame that they played. But Muniba could not eventually could not capitalize the way, because if I talk about Muniba is a person is a batter that you can rely on. But she started off well, but the way she did not just went forward with it. I was expecting more from Muniba, but I think it's just putting on more pressure on her then.
Yeah, but good signs nonetheless. Hopefully she capitalizes next time around. Claire, a quick word on the South African bowling. The first 4 overs were bowled by 4 different people. Do you think that was intentional? It was just to like sort of not make the batters comfortable, or what was the thought behind that?
Yeah, absolutely. I don't think they wanted the batsmen to see any one bowler for too long. I'm glad that they opened with Nonkululeko Mlaba. I'm glad they went with that spinning as an opening option. So I think that really worked for them. Her first over, maybe she would have preferred to keep it a little bit tighter. She went for 7 runs in that first over. But then her economy rate at the end of her 4 was 5.5, somewhere around there, I think. So she actually ended really well. I thought that worked phenomenally well. Sinead Lewis, not a great 1 over from her, but that's going to happen with the leggy in a T20 game. And it was interesting that they took so long to put Class on. Like, I was sort of going, come on, guys, when's Class going to get a run up? But she did really, really well. And she was incredibly, she got her 1 wicket and she chipped in with the ball. So I was happy with her. Kaka did phenomenally well, as she always does. She really is sort of turning into a consistent sort of that first change bowler, either in the ODIs or in the T20s. And I mean, I don't want to repeat Marizan Cup's name again on the show. I think we'll call it the swear word for now. She really was fantastic with the ball in hand. And her and Ismail closing off the innings, you can just see that experience. It was just fantastic. And Ananya mentioned on Twitter, I saw, how Ismail set up Zafar. I mean, it was just phenomenal. You could just see the thought process. Back of a length, slower ball, thanks for coming. It was just, I mean, you really love watching cricket like that when you understand that there's a specific plan and a good thought process going on in the bowler's head, and then they execute it with the skill. So I was happy with the bowler's performance today.
Yeah, and Ananya, team pacer. Let's talk about Shabnam Ismail a little more. 100th wicket in T20s, obviously the first South African and 4th all time. It's a pretty big achievement, but I saw her running much more in the field than actually when she was running up to bowl. I think she was like constantly within the action and just having that fitness to run sort of almost throughout the 20 overs. I think we saw some very good athleticism, even, by the other fielders, Tasman Brits and whatnot. Just a word on the entire sort of South African fielding unit as a whole.
I mean, I think they showed a lot more intensity and a lot more energy than they did through the ODIs, and that was great to see. But I think they were slightly sloppy sloppier than they would have wanted to be, with the overthrows, a couple of misfields, a couple of fumbles towards the end, allowing the batters to cross for 2. But yeah, Shabnam Ismail, I think, was outstanding. She's always shown that she's one of their best fielders, and she was in those hot spots, which is why we saw so much of her towards the back end of the innings. So, I think South Africa have shown a lot of improvement from that ODI series, and hopefully they can carry that energy onto the batting innings and chase this down.
Pre-match segment is firstly, who's going to wicket keep for Pakistan? We're guessing a few names, but if you can just tell us if you know who's going to wicket keep. And secondly, why Fatima Sana missed out on the 11, if there was any thought process behind that as well.
Fatma Sana, basically it was which for which Eamon came in for Fatma Sana. Yeah, and it was experience which came in because Eamon is more experienced for in comparison to Fatma Sana. So that was the reason that Fatma was dropped and Eamon came in. And because in the bowling, you'll see the difference. You'll see how Eamon would bowl, and she knows the conditions. She's more experienced as compared to Fatma. Talking about wicket keeping, so we'll see Muniba keeping the wickets because Muniba has been doing it in the domestic as well. So yeah, Muniba is a very good keeper though.
All right, so let's just quickly move on to the innings that's coming up now. We were wondering who's going to open the innings. Lizelle Lee and Tasman Brits are set to open the innings. Claire, do you want to see quick fire runs or just establishing themselves and then sort of carrying the game forward from there?
Well, I'd like to say that they would establish themselves and then be able to pull the trigger. And to be honest, both of them can. I hope Lizelle Lee's learned from her ODI series, where, you know, it just took a few more balls just to get her eye in, get her feet moving, not overcommit on the offside, and just play slightly straighter. And we saw how much better she played in the second ODI and the third ODI. So I'd like to see her sort of employ that. Tasman Brits is a very, very exciting youngster, also very attacking. So, you know, it's difficult. You don't want to hold them back too much. They must play their natural game. But I would just like them just to, you know, they're not chasing 8 runs and over here. It's 6.25 runs and over. So they don't need to go crazy up front. Take a couple of balls, get their eyes in, and then, you know, let's see how they feel, and then they can start playing some big shots.
And where do you reckon Laura Woodward comes in? Because she's been in fine form, second highest run scorer in the ODIs. Does she slot in at 5, or is it possible that she comes up a little bit higher up the order?
No, I think they'll probably play her at 5 now that they've made the decision to open with Lee and Brits. I think they'll keep Laura Wolfart where she played in the World Cup, where she was so incredibly successful. She did really well there. So I don't think they would tinker with that now, and they would keep her in number 5.
Right, and before we wrap up this outside view segment, Sawera, just your thoughts on what the Pakistan bowlers have to do there to contain South Africa, because the total is not very large, but right at the beginning, what do they really have to do? Maintain line and length well and feel tight?
Exactly, they need to capitalize on the beginning in the power play. They need to capitalize in the power play, and they need to focus that at least a wicket or 2. They should get a wicket or 2 in the power play, just like Pakistan lost their wicket in the power play. They lost 2 of their wickets in the power play. So they need to focus from the word go, and just because obviously this is not a target that you can defend, but this is a target which if you take wickets you can defend this target, but if you try to go on stopping the runs, if you try to just stop the batters, it would be impossible for them. So just focus to take wickets, and maybe this is what their focus would be, and Diana Baig would be the key for that.
And we saw positive intent with the batting innings. So hopefully we see the same with the second innings from the Pakistan team as well. Just quickly to wrap up, Ananya, I'm going to ask you, who do you think is going to take this match? And I don't want any head and heart answer. I want one solid answer. Who's going to take this match? What are your thoughts on that?
I'm backing South Africa to win this. I feel like the batting, I said this in the preview as well, the batting is just too strong. And very experienced batters, they bat deep as well. So I'd rather be in the South African dugout right now.
Okay, and there we have it, the mid-inning segment on the Outside View Live of the first ODI between South Africa and Pakistan. Whatever happens, we're set to have a really intense run chase coming up. So do tune into the game, and we'll see you after the second innings.